Welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be taking a look at the usefulness of the calibration frame. So I've taken pictures in July, and I will be processing these pictures today with a short process, meaning no calibration frame, and a long process, meaning using the calibration frames. The process I'm about to show you is based on the process used or presented by Quiv the Lazy Geek, which uses a minimal amount of effort in order to maximize your results regarding your pictures of the sky objects. This way, we're going to be able to have a look at a picture like this one, where you can see donuts in the frame due to the presence of dust somewhere in the optical frame, and end up with a final like this one, which is much clearer, much better, but you can still see the donut. That is what is being used. This is the result of a short process. And on the other hand, we have the long process, which will provide us with a starting picture like this one, where you can still see some noise in the background, but no donuts, and end product like this one, which is much clearer, much nicer, and more colorful. So in order to proceed, I have created two different folders. These folders each contain, for the short process, only the light element. For the long process with calibration frame, we have the components in there. Just to touch base on the role of each of those elements, well, your pictures is to present the target. The flats are used to eliminate the dust, the donut, or the vignetting, or the uneven illumination, and we'll have a look at one of them. This is what it looks like in my optical train. Most of these donuts are probably due to the fact that I've had that telescope for about 15 years and I never cleaned the inside. This will probably be a project for this winter. We have the darks, which are used to eliminate the inherent noise from the sensor. So as you can see, there are a lot of little pigments in there. And finally, we have the biases. The biases are used to eliminate the noise caused when the image is being downloaded from the camera. In this case, you can see that there's not much information in it. So our first step in order to do the comparison will be today to start with the short process, meaning no calibration. In order to do this comparison, I would be using 3 Windows free software, which are Siril, Graxpert, and Gimp. So first step, we open Siril. And remember, when you open Siril, don't close this second window, otherwise Siril will close entirely. So in this case, what we need to do is go to the little house, choose the appropriate folder where you are are going to be working from. Oops, working from. In this case, we're going to go with the short process, and you go no further. You need to see the lights folder. If you go into the lights folder, it will not work. So you click open, then you go to the script, choose the appropriate script. In this case, it is without DBF, so without darks, biases, and flats, and you run the script. Since I'm working from a external drive, it will take a bit of time for communication between the two drives. I will put this on pause and come back once it is done. Now the process has been completed. If we have a look into the short process, we now have two additional components. One is a process folder, and one is the result of the process. And if we have a look at the result, at this point, you see the donuts in the pictures. Now, because we're doing a comparison, I'll continue by doing the same with the long version, or the one with the calibration. So we need to get to the house, and then we go to full process. We stop there, open, and then we go to the script. And this one, we choose the regular pre-processing script. Run script, and again, because of the time it's going to take, I will put it on pause. The process has now concluded. If we go and have a look in our folder, we now have three new components. The process folder, the masters folder for the bias, darks, and flats, and the result of the process. When I process my pictures, I try to provide an identifier to help me know which filter I used, when the picture was taken, which camera did I use, how long is the picture based on, and which telescope I used. So in order to do that, I usually take the information from my main folder, and then I apply or I change the name of the results to reflect that information. This way I know exactly what has been going on. So again, I change the name. The other one here. The name has been changed. Okay. The next step is to open Graxpert. Once Graxpert is open, you load. Let's wait until you load your picture. So in this case, we'll go to the appropriate folder. Start with the long one. So it's now loading the image. You can't see anything at this point. If you use the stretch, you will see the information will be revealed, but we're trying to do most of the work on the plain version. Crop, I will not use crop because I not sure I'll be able to crop both pictures at exactly the same spot, and we're trying to have a comparative work of with calibration and without. So I'll go directly to the background extraction. So I'll go calculate background. Once that is done, we go to denoising. For the background extraction, I use 1, and for the denoising, I use 0.75. The reason I'm using 0.75 is because if I use anything higher, from time to time the system will, the program will crash. So 0.75, it's been fairly stable. So, and then I start the denoising. While this is taking effect, if you want to verify if you are up to date with the denoising component and the background extraction, you go to the advanced setting and you have a look. Denoising, I'm at 3.02, and the current version is 3.02, and the background extraction, I'm at 1001. No, I mean 1.0.1, and the latest is 1.0.1. So it's a good thing to check once in a while to ensure that you are up to date. Now, since this process will be taking some time, I will put the video on pause. Now that the process is finished, we go to save the processed file, and you will notice that Graxpert has added its own extension component in order to help us know at which stage of the process that image was made. We will now be doing the same for the short version of the process, or the process without calibration. So we open the file and we are done with Graxpert. We are going back to Siril, go to the house, choose the folder. We'll start with the full process one, open, then we go and actually open the image in order to be able to work on it. Now at this point you see pretty much nothing except for those 2 stars, but if you go from linear to auto stretch, you now have the galaxy with a lot of detail on the outside of it. So it's better to work on the linear version of it at this point. The first thing is to do the astrometry identification with the plate solver. We have M106 as a target. You enter that information. Here you enter the focal length of your telescope as well as the pixel size. You press OK, and the system is going to do the correction that need to be done. And then you go to image processing, you go to color calibration, you go to photometric color calibration, and this will automatically correct the colors of your image using the information in Siril. Then you click close. The next step is to go on the linear image. So you go to stretches, you go to histogram, ensure that you are in the linear aspect of Siril. And what I like to do here is make this image longer and put it at 2. This gives me more space on the left side of the histogram in order to be able to manipulate this bar over here, because at 1 it makes it very difficult, at 2 it makes it easier. If you want to go higher, it's your choice. Now in order to ensure that I do the same thing on both, I will go with 2 on this side, and then bring this cursor so that both graphs are above one another, or superimposed. Okay, and then you click apply. Do it again. So that's the second time that we're doing it. Again, 2. Bring this closer. Again, so that the components are superimposed. Apply. Done. Then it's getting a little bit more difficult to superimpose the graphs because they're getting a little bit larger. Trying to superimpose, but you don't want to lose too much, because if you do this, you see the blue graph, or the blue line starts to go down. You don't want that to happen because you need to keep all the information. So I try to keep as much of that info as possible. Let's bring this back to 2. Apply. Go for a 4th now. On the 4th, we'll go at only 1. We're gonna bring this as close as possible. This is close enough. Okay, so we did it 4 times, 3 at 2 and 1 at 1. And now we close this. Then the next step is the color saturation. So we go here, color saturation. What I usually do is I only have 0.25 because we'll be able to do some more color correction in the next program. So color saturation, and then we do a green noise removal. Apply. Difference between the 2 images is not that great in this case, so then you close it, and then the next step is to save the image. So you go at to save, and again, to know at which step this image appeared, I add the element Siril, because this was done with Siril. Do save. Save. I don't change anything. Now what we're going to do is do the same thing for the process without DBF. And now the final step is with Gimp. We can close this program. Zip. Open Gimp. Now that we have Gimp open, we will go and choose one of the 2 images that we want to work on. Let's start with the short version. So we open the one with Siril. This is why I clearly identify each and every one of my images, is so that I can open the right one right away instead of having to try to figure out which is the one I need to work on. And now what we need to do is go to filters, enhance, and then sharpen, non-sharpen. And in this case, we'll go with a 5. And then we'll have a look on the split image to see what it looks like. You can see the image is sharper. I don't want to sharpen the image too much, so I will stop at 5. But okay, and this is to taste. So if you want to sharpen it more, you can do it. Less, same thing. The reason why I'm doing it at 5 at this point is to be able to repeat the same thing with the calibrated pictures, so that we can compare two elements that are as close as possible. The next step is to go to color, curves, and I usually go inside the graph, and I lower it just a little bit to make it darker. You notice that the donuts, let me do it again. Oh, actually, I'll go with the split view. And when you make your image darker, the donuts disappear, or kind of disappear. They are less visible. So that's one way to get rid of donuts. If you don't want to have to go through the entire process of creating bias, flats, and darks, you can use a Gimp to eliminate some of the noise that appears on your pictures. And again, it's your choice if you want to do it that way, or if you want to go through the full process. So this is only part 1, and then I want to brighten the galaxy. So I raise this one. I don't want to go too high because then it's way too bright. So you need to brighten it. Let's see if we can stop at that point there. And this one, if you want to brighten it also, we go to that corner, and then up here we can lower that a little bit to make it this way. So now if we have a look of before and after, we have a much better picture. Again, manipulating this curve here is whatever you like. It's to your taste. Again, we're trying to do this in order to be able to compare the two different processes. So this is how I'm gonna leave it for now. So I press OK. Now I'm working with this new image, and we go to color saturation. And here I will put 2.5, dual split. So now the colors are more vibrant. And again, to taste, but because we are doing a comparison, I will leave it at 2.5. And we need to export. In Gimp, you export. You can say, but I usually use export. I will export it as is with the additional identifier, Gimp. Oops. Gimp, export, and I do it again. Oops. We need to, there are two windows for this element, and then you go at it again and you export. But the second time around, I use JPEG so that it's a picture. Export, again, the second window will pop up. Export. We're done with this image. Now we'll go and open the other one, which is in the long process. This, and we repeat the same. So we go to filter, enhance, and we go to sharpen, click here, we go to 5, and we have a look at what it looks like. Okay. There are slight variation, but we want to keep the same element. So click OK. We then go to color, we go to curves, and we try to do about the same thing as we did earlier on, but this one.
To that, we go to color saturation. Use the same numbers that we used for the other one, which is 2.5. Split to have a look at the result. And click OK because we need to be able to compare both of them. Again, to choice, we can put less, more, all depends. And we now export. So export as file, export, second window will pop up. Export. And because I want pictures to be able to share with people and ensure they're able to open them, I go to export again, but this time I choose an extension, the JPEG extension. Export, second window.
And there we go, we are done. So to recap this video, we started with this image without any calibration frames, and we were able to obtain this image with a fair amount of processing, post-processing. So we were able to obtain this. As you can see, there are still some donuts, but they are not as visible as in this frame. And then if we look at the other versions, the one with the calibration, we started with this image to finish with this one. The image is lots more colors in this one, and again, it's to taste. I try to replicate exactly what I've done with the other one. So we're starting with this image and then into this one. The reason why there's a change in the angle of the galaxy is due to the fact that when Siril does a full process, it actually needs to do a comparison to stored frames in its system, so it modifies the view of the image in order to be able to do the stacking. Now, if we look at let's close this one. And then if we look at both final images, there is not that much of a difference, aside from the fact that if you look very closely, you can see the donuts. But other than that, the image are fairly similar. Yes, you have a little bit more details on this one, but it's your choice. It's for you to decide if it is worth going through the whole process of acquiring dark flats, biases. Remember not to move the optical train in order to take those calibration components, or if you can be satisfied with just taking the pictures and then using software in order to enhance what you've taken. Again, the decision is yours in that case. If you like this video, I would appreciate it if you could click on like or subscribe. This way you will show me that you find my videos interesting, and it will motivate me to do additional ones. Until next time, I wish you clear skies.